Welcome, dear readers, to another electrifying edition of TV Day's Drama Digest. Buckle up as we plunge into the heart-wrenching, pulse-pounding saga of Tate Black and Sophia Choi, a story woven with lies, love, and shocking revelations that will leave you gasping. In the sleepy yet scandal-ridden town of Salem, secrets are currency, and no one trades in them quite like Sophia. Today, we unravel the twisted tale of Tate learning about the birth of his child, a child he doesn't even know exists, and the web of deception Sophia spins to keep him in the dark. Will Tate uncover the truth? How will he react to the shattering news that Sophia has been hiding his son? Let's dive into this emotional roller coaster, where every moment pulses with drama and every choice carries the weight of heartbreak. A hero's burden. Tate's world of chaos. Tate Black, the brooding heartthrob of Salem, is no stranger to turmoil. With his chiseled jaw and stormy eyes, he's the kind of man who carries the weight of the world on his shoulders, yet somehow makes it look effortless. But lately, his world has been anything but calm. Tate has been consumed by a harrowing mission, rescuing his sister Holly and her friend Ariana from a kidnapping that shook the town to its core. The ordeal was a masterclass in suspense, with Tate leading a daring, adrenaline-fueled rescue that saw him navigate dark alleys, outsmart ruthless captors, and bring the girls home to safety. The town hailed him as a hero, but the victory left him drained, his heart heavy with the toll of fear and responsibility. As the dust settled from the kidnapping drama, Tate's phone buzzed with a notification that would change everything. A voicemail from Sophia Choi, his on-again, off-again love, waited in his inbox like a ticking time bomb. Her voice, trembling yet urgent, spilled through the speaker. "Tate, I'm in labor. I need you." The words hit him like a freight train, his heart lurching in his chest. Labor? Now? How could this be happening when he was still reeling from the chaos of the rescue? Tate's mind raced, torn between the triumph of saving Holly and Ariana and the sudden, gut-wrenching worry for Sophia and their unborn child. The voicemail that changed everything. Tate replayed the voicemail, each word sinking deeper into his soul. Sophia's voice, usually so confident and sharp, was laced with vulnerability. She was in labor alone, as far as he knew, and he hadn't been there for her. Guilt gnawed at him, a relentless beast that whispered accusations. "You should have known. You should have been there." Tate's fingers trembled as he clutched the phone, his mind conjuring images of Sophia in a sterile hospital room, gripping the rails of a bed, her face contorted in pain. He didn't even know where she was. The voicemail offered no clues, only the raw urgency of her plea. Tate's first instinct was to call her back, but the line went straight to voicemail. Panic clawed at his chest. Was she okay? Was the baby okay? The uncertainty was unbearable, a storm brewing in his heart as he paced the dimly lit living room of his Salem apartment. The walls seemed to close in, the air thick with the weight of unanswered questions. He needed someone to lean on, someone to anchor him in this moment of chaos. And so, he turned to the one person who had always been his rock, Bradys Black, his cousin and confidant. Seeking solace in Brady's arms, Bradys Bar, a cozy haven tucked away in the heart of Salem, was a sanctuary for the broken and the weary. The neon sign flickered outside, casting a warm glow over the wooden tables and the clink of glasses. Tate pushed through the door, his face a mask of worry, and found Brady behind the counter, wiping down glasses with a practiced ease. One look at Tate's ashen face and Brady knew something was terribly wrong. "Tate, man, you look like you've seen a ghost," Brady said, setting the glass down and leaning forward, his brows knitting with concern. "What's going on?" Tate's voice cracked as he recounted the voicemail, the words tumbling out in a rush. "Sophia's in labor, Brady. I didn't even know she was that close. I've been so caught up with Holly and Ariana, I didn't see this coming." His hands raked through his dark hair, his eyes wild with a mix of fear and frustration. Brady slid a glass of water across the counter, his steady presence a lifeline in Tates Storm. Hey, breathe. You're gonna figure this out. Sophia's tough, and she's got this. You just need to find her, okay? Let's call the hospitals, see if we can track her down. They spent the next hour making calls, Tate's voice growing hoarse as he spoke to one receptionist after another. Salem General. Chicago Mercy. Every hospital within 100 miles. But no one had a record of Sophia Choi. The mystery deepened, and with it, Tate's dread. Where was she? Why hadn't she told him sooner? The questions piled up, each one a brick in the wall of his growing unease. The shocking call from Chicago just as Tate was about to give up hope, his phone rang. Sophia's name flashed on the screen, and he fumbled to answer, his heart pounding in his ears. Sophia? Are you okay? Where are you? Her voice was calm now, almost too calm, with a rehearsed edge that Tate didn't notice in his relief. Tate, I'm fine. I'm in Chicago. I had the baby. The world tilted beneath Tate's feet. You had the baby? When? Is it? Are you both okay? His words tripped over themselves, his mind struggling to process the news. Yes, we're okay, Sophia said, her tone measured. It's a girl. I gave her to foster parents, Tate. It was the right thing to do. I couldn't keep her. Tate's breath caught in his throat, a mix of relief and confusion swirling in his chest. A girl? Foster parents? The news was a tidal wave, crashing over him and leaving him gasping for air. Sophia, why didn't you tell me? I would have been there. I didn't want to burden you, she interrupted, her voice softening. You've been through so much with Holly and Ariana. I handled it, Tate. It's done. Brady, who had been listening intently, exchanged a glance with Tate, his eyes narrowing. Something about Sophia's story didn't sit right with him, but Tate was too overwhelmed to notice. The call ended abruptly, Sophia promising to explain more when she returned to Salem. Tate sank into a chair, his head in his hands, the weight of fatherhood and its sudden loss crushing him. The lie unravels, Sophia's deception unbeknownst to Tate. Sophia's story was a carefully crafted facade, a house of cards built on lies. The truth was far darker, far more scandalous. Sophia hadn't given birth in Chicago. She had delivered a healthy baby boy right there in Salem, in the quiet confines of Salem General Hospital, just days before her supposed trip to Chicago. But instead of cradling her newborn son, Sophia had made a choice that would haunt her. She left the baby at a fire station, a safe haven drop-off that ensured anonymity but severed her connection to her child. This act wasn't born of malice, but of desperation. Sophia was entangled in a web spun by Melinda Trask, a scheming mastermind with her own agenda. Melinda had convinced Sophia that abandoning the baby was the only way to protect him and herself from a shadowy threat tied to her past. The details were murky, but Melinda's influence was ironclad, her promises of safety laced with an unspoken menace. Sophia, overwhelmed and alone, had complied, leaving her son in the care of strangers. The baby boy, now named Noah by the system, had been placed with Leo Stark and Javi Hernandez, a loving couple who had recently moved to Salem to start a new chapter. Leo, with his quick wit and warm heart, and Javi, a steady and compassionate soul, were overjoyed to welcome Noah into their home. They had no idea of the child's true origins, believing him to be an orphan in need of love. Noah thrived in their care, his bright eyes and gummy smile a stark contrast to the deception that surrounded his birth. Sophia's return. A performance of lies. When Sophia returned to Salem, she stepped off the bus with a carefully rehearsed story and a heart heavy with guilt. She had spent the journey crafting her lie, perfecting the details to ensure Tate would never suspect the truth. She found him at Bradys Bar, his face a mixture of relief and anguish as he pulled her into a hug. Sophia, you're back. Tell me everything. What happened? Sophia's eyes glistened with crocodile tears as she launched into her tale. It was so sudden, Tate. I went into labor in Chicago and I didn't know what to do. The baby was a girl, and I found a wonderful foster family for her. They're going to give her everything I couldn't. Her voice broke, and she buried her face in her hands, the picture of a grieving mother. Tate, ever the empath, wrapped his arms around her, his own heart breaking for the child he'd never meet. You should have told me, sophomore. We could have figured it out together. His voice was thick with emotion, his trust in her unshaken despite the cracks in her story. Brady, however, wasn't so easily convinced. He watched Sophia with a skeptic's eye, noting the way her tears dried a little too quickly, the way her story seemed too polished, too perfect. He pulled Tate aside later that night, his voice low. Tate, something's off. She's not telling you everything. I can feel it. Tate brushed off Brady's concerns, too consumed by his own grief to see the truth. But the seed of doubt had been planted, and it would soon take root. The truth comes knocking. Days turned into weeks, and Tate threw himself into his work, trying to drown out the pain of losing a child he'd never known. But fate, as it often does in Salem, had other plans. A chance encounter at the town square would blow the lid off Sophia's deception. Tate was grabbing coffee when he overheard Leo and Javi talking about their new son, Noah. The timeline of their adoption struck him as oddly familiar, and a nagging suspicion began to grow. He approached them, his heart pounding. Hey, Leo, Javi. Congrats on the baby. When did you say you got him? Leo beamed, bouncing a giggling Noah in his arms. Just a few weeks ago. He was left at the fire station, poor thing. But he's ours now, and we couldn't love him more. The words hit Tate like a sledgehammer. The fire station. A few weeks ago. The pieces began to fall into place, and a sickening realization settled in his gut. He excused himself, his mind racing as he pulled out his phone to call Brady. Brady, I need your help. I think Sophia lied about the baby. Together, Tate and Brady dug into the truth, piecing together hospital records, fire station logs, and whispered rumors around Salem. The evidence was undeniable. Sophia had given birth in Salem, not Chicago, and the baby she'd abandoned was a boy, not a girl. Noah, the child now thriving with Leo and Javi, was Tate's son. The confrontation, a storm unleashed. Tate's confrontation with Sophia was a scene straight out of a soap opera, charged with raw emotion and betrayal. He found her at her apartment, her face paling as she saw the fire in his eyes. Sophia, tell me the truth, he demanded, his voice shaking with fury. Did you leave our son at the fire station? Is Noah my boy? Sophia's facade crumbled, her lies unraveling under the weight of Tate's accusation. She tried to deny it, but the truth spilled out in a torrent of tears and confessions. I had to, Tate. Melinda, she said it was the only way to keep him safe. I didn't want to lose him, but I had no choice. Tate's world shattered. His son was alive, but Sophia's betrayal cut deeper than any wound. You lied to me, he whispered, his voice breaking. You took my son away from me, and you lied. Sophia fell to her knees, begging for forgiveness, but Tate was already out the door, his heart a battlefield of rage and longing. He needed to see Noah, to hold his son, to make sense of the life that had been stolen from him. A new beginning. Tate's resolve. Tate's journey to fatherhood was just beginning, but it was fraught with challenges. Leo and Javi, unaware of the drama, had legally adopted Noah, and Tate faced an uphill battle to claim his son. Yet, as he stood outside their home, watching through the window as Leo tickled Noah's tiny feet, Tate felt a spark of hope. His son was loved, safe, and happy. For now, that was enough. But the story was far from over. Melinda's shadow loomed large, her motives still unclear. What hold did she have over Sophia? And how would Tate navigate the delicate balance of fatherhood, justice, and forgiveness? One thing was certain, Salem's secrets never stayed buried for long, and Tate Black was ready to fight for his son, no matter the cost. Conclusion. A drama unfinished, dear readers. The saga of Tate and Sophia is a testament to the power of love and the devastation of deceit. As Tate stands on the precipice of fatherhood, his heart torn between betrayal and hope, we're left with burning questions. Will he reclaim his son? Will Sophia find redemption, or will Melinda's schemes pull her deeper into darkness? We hope you enjoyed it and look forward to sharing more with you in the future. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe TV Days Drama Digest for more updates on Days of Our Lives.